And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At The Track Live. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics, you ask? Glad you asked. Even if you didn't ask, All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, elastic energy, a whole range of topics. After we have learned all of the science, after we have conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the class. After they have selected their cars, they document everything they can about their cars. They weigh the cars, they test the speed of their cars, they take a picture of the car, they document the year the car was manufactured, they enter all of that information into a spreadsheet, and then, after they've documented everything they can observe, they set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip, and we race the cars. And they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on what they observed? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars. We learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, you can visit our website, aaAerodynamics.com, or you can find us on Instagram, aaAerodynamics, and you can check the bio, and all of the links and information that you need are there. You can also contact me if you have questions about how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about aerodynamics presents At The Track Live. So what is At The Track Live? Well, before I can bring 400 cars in for students to use, I have to make sure that I know which cars I'm bringing to the students so that I can bring those same cars back, so that I can put them in an order that makes it easy for me to keep track of the cars. And I have a lot of cars in storage. And before I can bring those cars to students for them to use, I have to make sure that I've properly cataloged all of the cars. So At The Track Live gives me the opportunity to go into storage, pull out some cars, crack those open, take a picture of the car, take a quick video of the car, because there's an online version of the program and the students need to be able to see the cars that they're selecting. So I take a picture of the cars, shoot a little video, enter the information into my master spreadsheet, and then, since the track is already set up, we have a tournament. Race those cars. See which of the new cars is the fastest. But wait, there's more. If you want to participate, then you have that opportunity, which is why it's At The Track Live. Not just At The Track, it's At The Track Live. Because if you go to AtTheTrack.live and you select the third option that says choose a car, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet, which at this point is, there are 856 cars, I believe. Quite a few. There's either 855 or 857, somewhere right there. Let's just go ahead and be humble and take the lower number and say 855. You have 855 different Hot Wheels cars to choose from. There are fantasy cars. There are cars based on real cars. There are trucks. There are coupes. There are hatchbacks. There are race cars, drag cars, funny cars. There are cars that are shaped like a hot dog. Well, there's one car shaped like a hot dog. There are tow trucks. There are even a few Matchbox cars sprinkled in. You have cars from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 90s, from the 2000s, and some that were just released in the last few weeks. Here's one that I had when I was a kid, a Matchbox car that clearly I played with, but the axles are straight and it rolls. Now it's heavy, but as most of the older cars tend to be, but no problem, no big deal. We've got Matchbox cars, we've got old Ferraris, new Ferraris, and we have cars with all kinds of gimmicks where we have one that's a wolf, and when it rolls, the hood bounces up and down to look like the wolf is opening and closing its mouth. That there's a truck with a toilet seat on the back, and I believe that when it rolls, there's a little device that makes the toilet seat bounce up and down. There's a Santa's Rockin' Sled where when the car is going, there's a little thing under the car that makes Santa rock back and forth. All kinds of cars. We have cars from movies, cars from TV shows, the Back to the Future time machine, the DeLorean right here. It is an ID car, so it's one of those cars that has the better quality materials and design and attention to detail, but it has the plastic wheels, so we can roll it on our track. So a premium car with plastic wheels is always appreciated. There are fire trucks, there are buses, there are ice cream trucks, there are taco trucks, there's this Berserk with a buzzsaw right in the middle. Whatever kind of car, Hot Wheels car, you are into, we have some. If we don't have that exact car, we have something pretty close. And if I don't have that exact car, then all you have to do is send me a message and let me know the name of the car that you're looking for, and then I can check my master spreadsheet and I can let you know very quickly if we do in fact have that car. It's not just cars and trucks. We have a tank. I think there's another tank smaller than this one, but we have this one. Is this the Tanknator? No, this is the Invader. And then I think somewhere else there's another tank car somewhere in here. We have this Road Cannibal that's some kind of big cat thing, something, not sure. The Motosaurus, we've got a little Stegosaurus. If you're into dinosaurs, which a lot of the younger kids are, then this is the perfect car. They get their dinosaur fix and their Hot Wheels cravings mixed all into one. Maybe you're into Star Wars. We've got a Stormtrooper car. Right after that, maybe you want to go higher up in the chain of command. We've got the Darth Vader car. So all of the cars that you can think of, we have some representation, some version of here. And like I said, if I don't have the car and you tell me the car, I will go out and try to find the car, because ultimately we're trying to find the fastest car, the fastest Hot Wheel car really in the world, which I believe we already have. We have found that car, but you never know. We have 855 cars here, so I should say that one of these cars is faster than the car that is our current fastest car, which we call our fastest in fleet car. Our fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the BlitzSpeeder. And the BlitzSpeeder has been our fastest in fleet car for about the past month and a half, 2 months or so. Ever since it came back and defeated the Gazella R. And prior to that defeat, the BlitzSpeeder was our champion for 17 weeks. For 17 weeks, it dominated all the cars it faced. And then one day, the Gazella R showed up. It challenged the BlitzSpeeder and beat it. beat it 2 out of 3 races, and ultimately the Gazella went on for another 16 weeks. The Gazella was our champion, and then we had a rematch on the 17th, on what would have been the Gazella R's 17th week as champion. We had a rematch, a champion versus champion rematch. Brought the BlitzSpeeder back out, and the cars raced, and the BlitzSpeeder dominated the Gazella R. 2 races to none, and became our fastest in fleet car once again. And it has remained our fastest car for the past about 6 weeks or so. And perhaps today we have some challengers that can give it a close race. If they can't beat them, we're hoping for at least good competitive races, which, looking at the lineup, we may have. But we've said that before with the BlitzSpeeder. If you've seen the BlitzSpeeder race, then you know that it is just a totally, it's on a different level than most of these cars. We come out of these tournaments every week and we have a car that's won. We have a car that is the fastest car. And hooray, that car is the fastest car. And the car that wins the tournament gets to race the BlitzSpeeder. And even though those cars that win the tournament have seemed fast, when they race the BlitzSpeeder, it's a different level. And the BlitzSpeeder is beating these cars by wide margins, where it's not, the races aren't even close. So we've been looking at the BlitzSpeeder. We've had it in the wind tunnel. We have had it, seen it on the track. And there's clearly something about the design of this car that is perfect for our track, which is a flat drag track. And that is different. A lot of Hot Wheels races, most of the Hot Wheels races that you'll see online are gravity tracks. And there's different things that go into picking a car for a gravity track race versus our race. And also, some of those tracks that you see, some of the bigger gravity tracks that I've seen online, they have twists and turns and curves and jumps and things like that. We don't. We're more of that classic drag race quarter mile. So it's just a flat 1/64 scale quarter mile drag strip. And we have a custom launcher. And it fires these cars out at really high rates of speed. So the things that are impacting the cars on our track are different than a gravity track. So keep that in mind when you make your pick. And if you find a car that you would like to race, all you have to do is take the number of that car. They're all numbered and labeled all the way through 850, whatever, 55, 56, 57, whatever that number is, they're all numbered. When you find the car that you want to race, all you have to do is take the number, drop it in the chat. I will pull the car before we race. We'll take a quick look at it, and then we will go. So speaking of picking your car, hey, Christopher. Christopher has picked his car, and one thing that I didn't mention is that we have another show. We have At The Track Live, but then we have Wind Tunnel Wednesday. And Wind Tunnel Wednesday is interesting because I have a 1/64th scale wind tunnel that I got from Funtech Labs. They're windsable. And we put the cars in there. We turn on the smoke streams. And we get to look at the aerodynamic profile. We get to see how the air flows over, under, and around those cars. And that's important because it gives us information about the amount of drag that these cars are going to be facing when they're racing down the track. Because the faster a car moves, the more drag has an impact. And so when we put the cars in the wind tunnel, we can see, okay, looking at the aerodynamic profile of this car, it's probably going to have some problems because it's creating too much drag. So if you have multiple cars that you're considering, you can put those into the wind tunnel on Wednesday. It's the same process where you find the car, take the number, drop it in the chat. I pull the car, but instead of taking it to the track, we put it in the wind tunnel. And a couple of weeks ago, Christopher was considering there was a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. And we put those both in the wind tunnel. And based on the aerodynamic profile, what we were able to observe, it looked like clearly the Lamborghini had the better aerodynamic profile, meaning the air was flowing over the car in a way that suggested the drag wouldn't be as severe as it would be with the Ferrari. He went with the Lamborghini, and it did pretty well in the races. Ultimately, it didn't beat the BlitzSpeeder, but that's no knock against any car, because only one car has ever beaten the BlitzSpeeder, and that's just how it is. But Christopher, he's come back, and he had a couple of cars that were in the wind tunnel. There was, I believe, a Supra and a McLaren F1 GTR. And he has decided to go with the F1 GTR, the McLaren. So we are going to see that car racing, and we'll take a look at it a little later on. We also had another viewer, Roughshod. He had picked the Gazella GT. So there was the Gazella R, which is the car that beat the BlitzSpeeder. Well, there's an earlier version of the Gazella R that's the Gazella GT. And it basically, we'll take a look at that one later also, but it's sort of the same car, but it doesn't have a wing. And there's some little minor differences, but we're going to find out if the Gazella GT is going to perform as well on the track as the Gazella R. And if that's the case, then the BlitzSpeeder may be in some trouble. So we have those two cars already waiting, the McLaren F1 GTR and the Gazella GT. So that's two cars. We're going to be introducing some more cars today, and anybody who is watching either on YouTube or Twitch, all you have to do, if you want to pick a car to race, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, go to the Choose a Car tab. It will take you to this page, and on this page, as I said before, all of the cars are listed. Find the car you want to race and go ahead and drop the number of that car into the chat, and I will pull it, and we will be off to the races. But the main point of At The Track Live is to introduce new cars. So I went into storage, and I'm looking at, because I have crates of cars that have not been opened, and so I pulled the cars out, and I pulled a group out and was kind of looking through, trying to see, okay, what are we dealing with? And it turns out that a lot of these cars are now, I'm finding duplicates, and duplicate cars I just set aside as prize cars that are given away to students who participate in the program, answer questions, or paying attention, things like that, win games. So I have a whole bunch of prize cars, but I'm always trying to introduce new cars. I don't want to have duplicates in the fleet, so I usually have to kind of do some double checking just to make sure that's the case. But I found some cars today, and I think we have a pretty good, well, I wouldn't say they're all that diverse, but I always try to pick a couple of cars that are a little different, just because I don't want every car to be the same. If all I had were Lamborghinis and Ferraris, then that would be kind of boring. It wouldn't give the students much to think about when they're going to pick their cars. So the first car that I brought in is this one, the 62 Corvette Gasser. And it's definitely, we've had a couple of other Gasser style type cars in the fleet, and I think they've done okay. It just depends on which cars they race, but I like the look of this one, and it's got some interesting kind of design elements, so I figured why not put it in. So this is going to be the first car for today, the 62 Corvette Gasser. So let me crack this open and we can take a look. All right, and as far as the weight is one thing that that you can't determine even just looking through the list, unless you happen to have the car. So it is always the kind of X factor. The BlitzSpeeder weighs 32.4 grams, and we know that, that is one of the things that we keep in mind when we're thinking about which cars are going to be competitive with it. Are they in that range? The weight range that we've seen that works is between about 32 grams and 36 grams, right in there. Anything above, far above 36, so anything in the 40 range is a little too heavy to beat out most of the cars that we're talking about as far as fast cars on our track. This Corvette Gasser weighs 31 grams, so it's slightly, just slightly outside of that range that we have found to be kind of the sweet spot. But let's go ahead and take a look at it right here. And it's one of those cars where sometimes we get the Hot Wheels cars where they really kind of lock in on the details, and look at the pinstriping, the colors, the badges on the side, the gold wheels, and this is it's a good looking car. But then we'll get another car that it looks like it doesn't even, like they spent so much time on cars like this that they didn't have time for some of the other cars, and then we're left with cars that really the paint job and the details are sort of left off, and it's it makes them less than what they could be. But this is car number 858. This is the 62 Corvette Gasser, and I will check the year it was manufactured after it comes around here, and we will check the weight of the other cars, of the McLaren and the Gazella, a little later, like just before we take a look at them on the stage, on the turntable, then we will check the weight. Now, one thing I'm noticing with this car is that it's got two different types of wheels, and we're seeing these little disc wheels. I've mentioned this in the past, but we have never had a car do well that has these wheels. And most of the times when cars have these wheels are in the front. It's got these wider, more traditional wheels in the back. But these little skinny disc wheels, we just haven't had a car do well that has those wheels. Now, this car may be the exception, and it's usually a case that cars with those wheels are pretty unique cars, but I don't know what it is about them yet. I haven't been able to kind of analyze to that degree, but I just know the fact of the matter is we've never had a car with those wheels do very well on the track. So today may be a first, but we are going to find out. Hey, Roughshod, we were just talking about you and the Gazella GT, which we're going to take a look at in a little while and see if it's got what it takes to live up to the reputation of the Gazella R, and maybe exceed it, and put a scare in the BlitzSpeeder. So let's see. All right, let's get this picture here. And now the 62 Corvette Gasser is our latest entrant into the fleet. Car number 858. 858. We started off doing at the track, and we were around car number 450. So we've introduced just over 400 cars to the fleet, and that is quite a feat. And closing in pretty soon, we'll hit 1,000. And once we hit 1,000, I've decided that I will start a new a second page. If you go to that choose your car page, I have all of the cars listed here. And it was just when I was putting the website together, it was just how I did it. And usually you wouldn't have 800 pictures on a web page, but this is how it is. And so when I get to 1,000, then I'll make a second page. But for now, you'll be able to find all 858 cars there. Let's see. So we've got the Corvette Gasser, and then another one that I found that I picked up just because it looked cool, and that's really all I need to pick a car up off the shelf. But it's this one, the Ford Mustang GTD. And there are some other Mustangs, that we have in the fleet, but we don't have a Ford Mustang GTD. Let's see, there's some information on the back. Born 2025 in Dearborn, Michigan, designer Ford. The style, the speed, the roar, equipped with a 5.2-liter V8 engine and pumping out 800 horsepower. The whole world will feel its rumble when this track-tuned monster rips across the pavement. Celebrate the Mustang's 60th anniversary with an all-star stable of pony cars. So, this one's going in. It is the Ford Mustang GTD. It's got this sort of metallic silver paint job. I don't know if this was actually the Zamac car, which is I forget what it stands for. It's zinc, maybe aluminum, something. But I think this one is this isn't a Zamac car. This is just painted this color. But let's check the weight. And the weight is 37.1. So the Corvette Gasser was just outside it was just below the sweet spot. So it came in at 31 grams. When we say the sweet spot is between 32 and 36, this one at 37 is just on the other side. But it's not so much that I think there's any reason to worry. But I'm going to go ahead and get the still picture first, and then take the video. Get some light on this one. And there seems to be, at least so far, we've got two cars with these gold wheels. I like that. And this is one of the cars, like I said, with the Gasser, all the pinstriping, all the details, all the little subtle touches to make it kind of stand out. And this one, they threw the silver metal flake paint job on it and called it a day. But it's still a good looking car. It has that wing right at the roof line, which is something that we have seen with some of the cars that have done very well on the track lately. Let's see. Yeah, and also one of the things when you're considering picking a car is the back end. That's usually one of the first things that I look at. And there is a launching block, a flat block that pushes the cars out of the launcher. And oh well, see, I spoke too soon. There is some detail. They got the little Mustang logo right there on the license plate, and actually colored the tail lights. So they put a little bit into this. But the back end, typically you want a flat back end to press right up against the launching block. It gives the cars a more consistent and stable launch. Ford Mustang GTD. I didn't check the year. So this car, just looking at it, I wouldn't expect it to be one of our fastest cars. I think it is just a good, solid pick. There's a whole lot of cars in the fleet that are just good, solid picks, kind of safe picks. And this seems like one of those cars that is a safe pick. There's nothing I can see that's wrong with it. The weight isn't bad. The back end, nothing wrong there. Aerodynamically, it's pretty traditional. I think that cars like the BlitzSpeeder, the Gazellas, the Whipped Creamer 2, and some of the others we've seen, the way they're designed, because they're fantasy cars, they don't have to keep to any kind of traditional real world standards, so they do some radical things with the shapes, and I think that helps reduce drag, helps with the aerodynamics, and gives those cars a bit of an advantage in that area. But then again, we have the Draftnator. The Draftnator is basically a pickup truck, and it was our fastest in fleet car for a while. There was a Mazda and a BMW that were also fastest in fleet cars for a while. And so it's no guarantee that just because a car is based on a real car, it's not going to win on our track. But we've just seen that the fantasy cars have had better luck so far. And this one was produced in 2024. Let's see. Had a blue Ford Mustang Dark Horse. I'd have to look that car up and see. And the other thing is that I have so many cars in storage that, you know, I'll buy a car, but because I haven't introduced it into the fleet, I don't open it, so I put it in storage. So in some cases, I've forgotten, I mean, not in some cases, in most cases, I've forgotten which cars I've already purchased, which is why until they're actually in the fleet, you know, I may have that car, I may not have it, but there are quite a few cars that I have in storage. So maybe I might have that car, but I'll look it up later on and see if it looks familiar. But, and the other thing is that the way the cars are in the storage, the way I have them sort of stacked, it's not easy. I can't just go through and look and scan through and see which cars I have, because they're just sort of packed in one on top of the other. And so when I go in there, sometimes I'm surprised when I open up the storage and take a look. And one of the things I was surprised by is that I had this next car just hanging out, waiting. And I'm always picking these up because basically kids love Lamborghinis. And when I find one, I pick one because I know it's going to get selected. And Lamborghinis are a pretty good example when I'm explaining to the students start to explain to them about aerodynamics and how the shape of a car impacts the way the air flows over, under, and around the car. The design of the Lamborghini is so unique that students immediately understand that kind of wedge shape of the car would be good to reduce drag and should make it fast. Plus, they already know that just the name Lamborghini is associated with fast cars. So I picked this one up, the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato, and this is in the Safari mode series. I can't imagine this being taken on any kind of safari related off-road trip, but whatever. It's Hot Wheels, fantasy cars. This is the Lamborghini. We're going to crack this open, take a look at it, because it's not going off-road, but it is going on the track. So we'll see what it's got. All right, let's check the weight here. And this car weighs in at 27 grams. So we are now talking about two cars below our sweet spot, but this one at 27 grams, significantly below. And when we start talking about cars that are that light in the mid to high 20 gram range, that's typically it's a problem. And it's a problem because of drag. And what we see with those cars, with lighter cars is that drag tends to come into play at the back end of the track and slow those cars down. And this may or may not be an exception to the rule, because we already know that the Lamborghini is going to be aerodynamically, it's going to be aerodynamically sound, which is going to make it a good solid pick. And perhaps the drag will not impact it as much at the back end of the track, but with the lighter cars, we tend to see them slowing down toward the back end and the other cars passing them by. And we go into a little bit more detail about these different factors on Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. Let me see. Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. So we go into more details about how drag works and how it impacts these fast-moving cars on our track. But anytime you see a car at the back end of the track start to slow down, there's three factors working against the cars, three forces. There's gravity, drag, and friction. And it could be, if the car gets a good solid launch, then the friction is going to be relatively minimal because the car is going to stay in the middle of the track. If a car gets a bad launch, it is going to be bouncing around the track, and the wheels are going to be scraping up against the sides of the track, and it's going to be bouncing back and forth, and that's going to work to slow the car down. But beyond that, beyond friction, then we're talking about gravity. And so when we get heavier cars that slow down toward the back end of the track, it's a function of gravity and the amount of force that they're getting coming out of the launcher. But for the lighter cars, if they're starting to slow down at the back end of the track, it's usually due to drag. And we have seen that time and time again. And what it looks like on the track, it looks like one car, it doesn't look like one car is losing speed. It looks like another car is gaining speed. And we know that that's not the case. That's not what's happening. Let me get this light right. Let's some light on this car. I guess it would be helpful if I switch the view to the correct photo. And now we have our Lamborghini ready to roll, ready to be a part of the fleet. And yeah, so if it looks like a car is slowing down, then there's going to be a reason. And that only happens, let's see, 2023. We've only seen that happen, that slowdown effect, with cars that are very light or cars that are very heavy. Those are the only two that we've ever seen that phenomenon happen with. So one of the two is going to happen with a really light car, with a really heavy car, and we'll see where this Lamborghini fits in, because it's pretty light. Right now, it's the lightest car that we have in the fleet. So far, we have the 62 Corvette Gasser. We have the Ford Mustang GTD. We have this Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. We have Christopher's McLaren F1 GTR. And we have Roughshod's Gazella GT. So we are pretty good to go so far. We've got 5 cars ready. And I'm about to bring in a 6th. And this 6th one is not one. So sometimes I pick the cars because I think they'll do well on the track. Other times I pick them just because they're kind of cool and catch my eye. This one, I guess there's a couple of reasons I picked it, but let's take a look at it first. It's this one. It's the Ain't Fair. It is a bus, and there's a few buses. So I'm building up this these different groups of cars. Like we could have a taco truck slash ice cream truck race. But now I've got quite a few buses of different kinds and types, so we could have a bus race. And there's another show that I'm kind of like working on, thinking about doing, where it's just kind of these random races, not necessarily cars that are going to be going in the fleet, but things like this, where we just have like, we're racing buses all day. Or have we done, I think we did a Batmobile race off. Maybe we didn't, but I think that's definitely one that needs to happen, because we've got over a dozen Batmobiles. So which is the fastest? There needs to be a Batmobile race. So anyway, I'm still thinking about it and working on it and trying to figure out how I do it and when. But I do want to have some of these kind of offbeat races. But anyway, this one, the Ain't Fair, is going in, and it's a bus, but it's like lowered. It's got the graffiti on it. It is kind of in line with what we were talking about with the Minecraft minecart and the creeper, where they were just like blocks. One was a square, just the other one's a rectangle. It looked like a tote, plastic tote on wheels. And this one's just a straight rectangle, lowered wheels or lowered frame. And let's take a look at it. I think it might, being a bus, now it's interesting because it's hollow. There's nothing inside of it, and I feel it feels very light, but we'll see whether or not it's light or not. Put it on the scale. It is coming in at 37.2 grams. So it's really only just a little bit heavier, like a tenth of a gram heavier than, I believe it was the Mustang. Yeah, the Mustang is 37.1. This bus is 37.2. And let me get it up here so we can take a look at it. And this is the Ain't Fair. And I like this one. Now, there's no doubt that this is going to get a great launch. The problem is going to be that, now, the great part is that the back end, this is the best backside of any car or truck that has ever raced on the track. It is completely flat, and it's tall and wide, and it will press right up against the launching block and fire out. The problem is this front end, and the air is going to hit this front end and build up here, and then it's going to push off in all directions, and it's going to create enough drag to slow this thing down and prevent it from doing well. So Roughshot thinks this bus might win one race. I'm looking at the cars in here, and I don't know that it can be. Maybe that Gasser, maybe, but I don't think. I don't know. I don't think. And here's another thing that's interesting. This top part here is metal. So usually we see the metal on the bottom of these cars, and then the top part is plastic. But this one has the metal up top, and the rest is plastic. So will that make a difference? How will that impact the performance? I don't know. But that is why we take these cars to the track. This will definitely be one that sees the wind tunnel on Wednesday, because even though I'm pretty sure I know how this is going to be impacted. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to change out the background just so that you can see all of the details a little better. And let's see. Here we go. The wheels are tucked in underneath. And yeah, that's something else that I'm not a big fan of, because typically when the wheels are tucked in like this and not kind of flush with the body, the cars bounce around the track. But I think this is unique because this one's already pretty wide, so there's not really too much of a worry about this bouncing around the track. But these wheels, yeah, typically I don't like to see the wheels placed like that, but we'll see how that all works out. And a matter of fact, let me just double check. I have a base unit. Oh, and now I've bumped the cord and my camera's gone out, but that's okay. We'll see if I can get that back. And while I'm doing that, let's see, the whole little gimmick came apart. So now you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes, above the scenes. Let me get this thing attached back. And let's see here. Now I've got that. Yeah, it seems like we got it. All right, so the ain't fair. This does in fact fit in the launcher, so we're good there. So it will race. How it does is anybody's guess, but like I said, it's only slightly, it just weighs a little bit more than the Mustang. So, you know, I guess we'll find out what it's going to do. Let me add that in. This is car number 861. 861 different Hot Wheels cars. This one's the Ain't Fair. F-A-R-E, like bus fare. How about a school bus? I'm pretty sure I have a school bus in there, but the problem is that, you know, with Hot Wheels, they always give them like funny names or what have you, like Ain't Fair. And so I could look at my list and I would see a name like that, Ain't Fair, but unless I remembered that is a bus, then I wouldn't think to think about that. But I know, but there are a few buses in there, and there are some that are a little more modern. There are some that are kind of old school looking buses. Oh, we even have that the double decker bus that raced, that really tall one that came out last year, I believe. So there's plenty of buses in there. I would just have to figure out the names of those buses or scroll through and find them in order to make sure that I got them all. But yeah, we definitely have buses, and I'm pretty sure one of them is a school bus. So there we go. We've got the Ain't Fair. We have the Mustang GT. Oh no, it's not GT. It's GTD. The Mustang GTD. We have the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato, the '62 Corvette Gasser. We have the Ain't Fair, this bus. And now let's go ahead and take a look at two of the other cars that were picked. So we've got Christopher's McLaren F1 GTR. So let's check the weight on that. And the weight is 36.2 grams. So it is right in the right in that sweet spot. It's top end. And let's go ahead and see what this car is all about. So if you were watching on Wind Tunnel Wednesday, it had a very solid aerodynamic profile. Didn't seem like it was going to produce too much drag. The back end that's a great looking setup. It is pretty flat. It's going to press right up against that launching block. It's got the wing that is sitting right at that roof line, which is another thing that we have liked to see, and that we've seen as a feature in cars that have done well on the track, that wing that's just right at the roof line. There's nothing wrong with this car, and no reason why it shouldn't do well on the track. Is it going to be faster than some of these other cars? Especially, I'm thinking about the Lamborghini. And with that Lamborghini, it really just depends on how drag impacts it at the back end of the track. But I think, sort of just like with that Mustang, I think that this car, this McLaren, this is a solid pick. Like, you can't really criticize this as a pick, because it checks off all the boxes for everything that you would want to see. It's got the right proper weight. It's got the good aerodynamic profile. It's got the flat back end. Yeah, I think this is a solid contender. And we have another one that's even, if this is a solid contender, this next one, Roughshods pick is like rock solid, because the Gazella GT is sharing most of the design elements from the Gazella R. And we already know Gazella R, Hall of Fame car, top tier, all of that. But the Gazella GT is a similar car, just with a few minor design differences. And it weighs in at 31.1 grams. So just slightly outside of the sweet spot, but nevertheless, it's not so far out that we need to worry. And on Wind Tunnel Wednesday, put this car in the wind tunnel. We also put the Gazella R, brought that out, put that in the wind tunnel. And when we were looking at the design, really the main difference seemed to be that the Gazella R has a wing on the back. And other than that wing, all the other design aspects of this car seem pretty similar. So if that's the only significant difference is that wing, then there's no reason not to expect this car to perform very well on the track, similar to the Gazella R. And we will see. I think we did have a race, the Gazella R versus this one, I think, and this one was beaten by the Gazella R, but it was probably, the race should have been close. If you want to double check that, if you want to watch some of the old races, all you have to do is go to our YouTube page, click on the live tab. All of the episodes are listed. When you look at the description, it will have all the cars listed that are introduced on that episode, and you can go through, and there are time codes, and you can click on the car that you want to see, the review that you want to see, or you can just jump straight to the races. Whatever you want to do, just go to our YouTube page and check that out, and you will be able to see how some of these cars perform. You'll be able to see the first time that we ran into the BlitzSpeeder, the first time it was beaten, the only time it was beaten. And then you'll be able to see when it came back and avenge that loss. So all of that is there, but we may have another classic race setting up. If the Gazella GT, if the McLaren, if either of those two can take out all the other cars in the tournament and take out the BlitzSpeeder, this will be a special At the Track episode. But we are about to hit the track. So when we go to the track, I just want to explain, in case there are people who are watching, you just clicking around YouTube and somehow you ended up here, or you ended up on this episode and you just clicked right to the race section. This is what you will be seeing. You will be seeing our 3-camera track view, and the cars will start out at the top of the camera On the left in the launcher, I will give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I will hit the switch. The cars will come firing out of the launcher. They will come from top to bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left. They will show up at the top of the screen in the middle. They will come from top to bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen in the middle and show up at the top of our finish line camera on the right. The cars will come from top to bottom. They will cross the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. A solid red light indicates the winning car, and a flashing red light indicates the losing car. The races are best 2 out of 3, and the cars switch lanes after each race. And after they have switched lanes, we race them again until we have a winner. And in the event that a car crashes, which does happen because these cars are launched out with a lot of force. If a car crashes and leaves the track, we throw out the results of that race and we simply start all over again. If a car crashes but lands upside down or sideways but stays on the track, then that just counts as a loss. In order to restart a race, the car has to crash and leave the track. If it doesn't leave the track, then the results of the race stand. And that is what we are going to be looking at in just a moment. We are heading over to the track, and I've got the cars together. Track is set up. We are ready to go. So I will see you over at the track in 30 seconds. Okay, and we are just about ready to go with this set of races. I am just going to double check the audio. 1, 2. Yep, audio's good. We are ready to race. We have an interesting set. I think this is a pretty traditional race we've got going on, other than the bus. So let's go ahead and start with the bus. And we're going to go with the bus against the Gasser. We'll go right out of the box. I want to see what this ain't fair, what this bus can do, and whether or not it has what it takes to knock out one of our standard cars. So let me get everything set up here. And let's see. I don't think it's too tall. Well, let me not guess. I think I'm going to have to use the taller. Yeah, I'm going to have to use the taller cover for this race because of the height of the bus. And hopefully that doesn't make too much of a difference, but you never know. I've got some ways to deal with that when I have a taller car and a standard car, but we'll see what happens with the Gasser. If the Gasser crashes, then I'll definitely have to work some of my magic. But let me get the ain't fair. First of all, I had it in there backwards. It's a little easy to do when you just have this rectangle. And now it doesn't want to sit properly in the launch channel, which it needs to do. All right. So we have the ain't fair, the lowrider bus in lane 2. We have the 62 Corvette Gasser in lane 1. This is race 1 of the day. Here we go. Corvette Gasser lane 1, ain't fair lane 2. Three, 2, 1, race. So the bus comes out of the gate and crashes. I will, and then it hit the camera, shifted that just a little bit, hit the tripod. But one thing I didn't check was whether or not it was okay. It's good. With the taller cars, I always have to double check to make sure that they're not going to hit the tripod, one of the tripod legs, on their way down the track. But the Ain't Fair didn't make it far enough down the track for that to matter. So we are going to line them up again. And I think one of the problems may be that the Ain't Fair has the metal, instead of having a metal base, it has the metal on the top. And when I was looking at the explanation about Hot Wheels and the Best for Track and Hot Wheels Track Stars series and all of that, one of the points that they made was that those cars have metal bases. And they have flat metal bases. And the idea is that they lower the center of gravity and keep them on the track. Well, with the Ain't Fair, the weight is on the top, on the roof. The bottom is plastic, the body is plastic, but the metal is on the top. So maybe that explains why it flew off the track, but we're going to see. If it flies off the track again, it's disqualified, and we will be moving on. So race 1, the restart, we have Ain't Fair, the bus, in lane 2. We have the Corvette in lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Ain't Fair stayed on the track and pulled it out. I didn't know if it was going to be able to hang on, but somehow it did. Despite it looked like it was slowing down towards the back end, what we talked about as far as cars with bad aerodynamic profiles or cars where drag was going to impact them more dramatically. And but it was moving fast enough and had enough of a lead that it hung on and won that race. So we do know that as long as, the circumstances are right, the Ain't Fair can make it down the track. So that's a plus, because I hate to see cars that just don't make it down the track at all and we have to take them out of the fleet. I'd always prefer to have these unique cars in the fleet versus having to take them out. Now the Ain't Fair is lined up in lane 1. This Corvette Gasser. Come on, Gasser. I know you've got those weird disc wheels in the front, but you can't let a bus beat you. You got to at least take one victory from the bus. Can you do it? We're going to find out. We've got the Gasser. Oh, Gasser doesn't want to stay put. The Gasser, if I can get it to stay, doesn't want to stay. It's trying to get an early lead on the bus, which is a shame that you got to get an early jump start on the bus. It's a bus. All right, we've got the Gasser in lane 2. We've got Ain't Fair in lane 1, and we're going to see if this bus can move on. Here we go. Race number 2. Three, two, one, race. Oh, it was close. It was close, but the bus took it. Next stop, round 2 for the bus. The bus is moving on. This is okay. I mean, the aerodynamics are horrible, but I don't know what's going on with that Gasser. That's an embarrassment. The Gasser should be ashamed. That's disrespectful to the Bel Air Gasser, to all the other Gassers that are in the fleet. Are hanging their heads in shame today that the Corvette Gasser lost to a bus, a brick of a bus. But that's the way it goes, and that's why we gotta race the races, because you really just never know. We can have all the theories, we can have all the speculation we want, but until these cars get on the track, we don't know. So let's go next with, we're going to go with Christopher's McLaren against this Ford and the Ford Mustang GTD. And they both have that, they both share that silver metallic paint job. So that's enough of a reason to put them together on the track. We're going to see which car comes out on top. And like I said, with this McLaren, it's got everything that you really would just look for. If you're just trying to pick a car at random, it's got the good aerodynamic profile, it's got the good back end, it's got the good weight, and we are going to see if that translates to it being fast on the track. So we've got the McLaren F1 GTR in lane 2. We have the Ford Mustang GTD in lane 1. Mustang lane 1, McLaren lane 2, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh. And the Ford Mustang GTD took race number 1. It was pretty close. Came down to the wire, but as we see, the solid red light indicates that lane 1 was the winner, and lane 1 was the Ford GTD. We are going to set up for race 2, and the McLaren is going to need to take 2 races, but as I've said many times in the past, that is not unusual for a car to lose the first race and come back and win 2 in a row. It's something we see usually once a week, so it's not entirely unusual, and that was a close race, so it is very much possible that the McLaren can come back and do it. But this Ford, now one thing the Ford does have going for it, it's a wide car. It's got kind of a wide body kit on it, and that is going to prevent it from bouncing around the track, which will end up keeping it straighter. So that is something to keep in mind, because there is some friction when the cars bounce back and forth. But we've got the McLaren in lane 1. We've got the Ford GTD Mustang in lane 2. This is race 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. That one was interesting because the McLaren took it, but it was close. It was close there at the end, but we now have a tied up series. It is 1 race to 1 race. We are going to our 3rd and final race, and we are going to find out whether or not the McLaren or the Mustang are moving on. There can only be one. So we are going to switch lanes again. And these cars are pretty evenly matched. I believe the Mustang was the one that was at 37 point maybe 1 grams. And this McLaren is right here and ready to go. So now we've got the McLaren in lane 2. We have the Ford Mustang GTD in lane 1. This is race number 2. If the McLaren takes it, it moves on. If the Ford takes it, it moves on. Here we go. Race number 3. Three, two, one, race. And the Ford Mustang GTD took the race, and it was not as close as that last race, but those cars were very much evenly matched. And I think if we sort of continued to run these cars over and over and over again, that we'd probably, the Ford may still come out ahead, but I think that the McLaren would still probably take its share of races. It's probably a situation where just some little thing, maybe just a difference in the launch or something, some little thing made the difference, and that's what we saw. All right, so now we are going with with Roughshod's pick, the Gazella GT. versus the Lamborghini Huracan, what was it? Something with a cup with 2 R's, Sterrato. I don't remember. Oh, I know what I can do. I can look at the bottom of the car. Sterrato, that's it. The Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato versus the Gazella GT. Now, question is, can the Gazella GT hold up the Gazella name on the track? And if it can, then some of these other cars had better look out. They may be in some trouble. Or does that wing make that much of a difference? I don't know. Now the Lamborghini's coming in at like 27. I think this was the one that was at 27 grams, something very light. And we're going to find out if light makes right, or if the Gazella is going to uphold that Gazella name and tradition. So here we go. We've got the Gazella GT in lane 2. We've got the Lamborghini Sterrato in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Whew. Both those cars were very fast. The Lamborghini, the light Lamborghini, took it. And I'm thinking that that weight is going to be, it may end up being a problem, because, I mean a problem in the sense, a problem for other cars, not a problem for the Lamborghini. Because we were saying how with the light cars, drag tends to slow them down at the back end of the track. Well, that's true, but how does that work if the car has a really good aerodynamic profile? Maybe the drag is going to impact it less because it's got the good aerodynamics. I don't know. But that race, we saw that Lamborghini not lose speed like many light cars do at the back end of the track. So here we go. This is race number 2. We have switched lanes. We've got the Gazella GT in lane 1. We've got the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And that Lamborghini pulled it out again. I think that weight is what made the difference there. Because there's not really, we didn't see a slowdown. And there's rarely a time when we have a car that light in the mid-20s, the mid to upper 20s, where we don't see that slowdown at the back end of the track. But we are going to see what's going to happen next, because now we're going to go, in this, talk about ain't fair, we're going to go with an ain't fair matchup, because we're going with the Lamborghini versus the ain't fair. So the ain't fair bus versus the Lamborghini. And a bus versus a Lamborghini, this is not set up to look good for the bus. But anything can happen. But this is not going to be, I don't think this is going to be pretty. So we're going to see how this works out. It ain't fair, and sometimes the track just ain't fair. But we've got ain't fair the bus in lane 2. We've got the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And this is what I mean when I say anything can happen. So the Lamborghini crashed coming out of the gate. And the other thing is, that's interesting, is I forgot to switch out to the taller acrylic cover for the bus. The bus still made it down the track, but I don't know if it was slowed down any by the fact that I didn't switch out the cover. So I guess nevertheless, it doesn't matter, because the race went how it went. I guess it's not, I guess the bus isn't, you know what? It's just tall enough. I can use this lower cover. So that'll be okay. All right, good. But here's the thing. The Lamborghini just crashed. We have rules here at the track that say, hey, if a car crashes twice in a row, it's disqualified. So this Lamborghini really needs to stay on the track. I hate to disqualify a car, especially a car that I know can make it down the track, which this Lamborghini definitely can. So I may have to use some discretion, but we're going to see what happens. The Lamborghini is in lane 1. The Ain't Fair bus is in lane 2. Race 1 restart. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Lamborghini took it, but why was that race closer than it should have been when it's a bus versus a Lamborghini? I'm just saying. That was usually if a race is kind of out of hand and one car is way faster, then I don't have to look at the lights on the finish line to tell who won. But in that case, I absolutely did. So we are going to switch lanes. The Lamborghini is now going to be in lane 2. The Ain't Fair bus is going to be in lane number 1. And while the Ain't Fair may not win, it is represented well for the buses by taking at least one race. So here we go. Ain't Fair lane 1, Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato lane 2, race 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Are you kidding me? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? I see a solid red light in the lane number 1 where the bus was, and that is definitely not what I expected. I did not expect this bus to take a race from the Lamborghini and force a third and decisive race. Are you telling me that the bus may make it to the finals? This is what we're looking at? The track doesn't lie. The track doesn't lie. So here we go. We are going to switch lanes. We are going to the most improbable semifinal matchup that we've had with the Ain't Fair bus. A bus. A big, giant bus. A big, rectangular bus going up against a Lamborghini, a light Lamborghini at that. The lightest Lamborghini and the lightest car that we've had in the tournament today. A bus, a lowrider bus against a Lamborghini in the semifinals to see who's going to take on this Ford Mustang in the finals. This is what we've got. We've got the Ain't Fair bus in lane 2. We have the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato in lane 1. Race number 3. Winner takes it. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Lamborghini takes that race. But I have to give the honorable mention to the bus for taking 2 races from the Gasser and taking 1 race from the Lamborghini. Who would have thought that it would have gotten that far? I certainly didn't. Hats off to the Ain't Fair, but this is its final stop here at the semifinals, and our final round matchup is going to be this Ford Mustang GTD against the Lambo. And yeah, Rashad, the bus is trying to make a statement, changing the game, and we have got the Lamborghini in lane 2. We have the Ford Mustang GTD in lane 1. Race 1 coming up. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Another very close race. The Lamborghini took it, and again, I'm just thinking that weight is working. The combination of the lightweight and it being a Lamborghini, so already very aerodynamically sound, I think those two things are working in its favor. But we are going to see, because it's going to need to take another race in order to win the tournament. See Christopher asking about the F1 cars. The only new sort of F1 car that I have, there's a Red Bull F1 car, which I think was the first one that they put out, and we have that one and raced it maybe about a month or two ago, but it's definitely in the fleet and has raced. It didn't win, at least it didn't beat out the Gazella or the BlitzSpeeder, whichever car was the champ at the time, but it's definitely in the fleet. But that's the only one that of the new F1 cars that I've got. Okay, we have switched lanes. We've got the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato in lane 1. We have the Ford Mustang GTD in lane 2. The Ford's got to take these next 2 races or it is done. So here we go. Race number 2. Three, two, one, race. Oh. The Lamborghini got the Mustang right at the end. The Mustang had the lead. From my perspective, it looked like it had it going into the final stretch, into that third finish line camera. It looked like it had it, but then the Lamborghini turned on that extra juice, found that extra little bit of something, dug down deep, came out with the win, and the Lamborghini is today's champion. The Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato at 27.1 grams, extremely light. It is going up against the BlitzSpeeder for the fastest in fleet title, and this will be interesting because the Lamborghini is lighter than the BlitzSpeeder by a good, 5 grams, almost 5.5 grams. So we're going to see if that comes into play. And the BlitzSpeeder, our fastest in fleet champion, is lined up in lane 1. The Lamborghini is lined up in lane 2. This is it. If this Lamborghini can beat the BlitzSpeeder, we may have a problem. But let's see what happens. We've got the BlitzSpeeder, our fastest in fleet champion, in lane number 1, and the Lamborghini in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. So it was kind of close at the beginning, and as we got toward the back end of the track, the BlitzSpeeder just started to pull away, and I think we finally saw the impact of drag on the lighter car, because we were talking about when we start to see those pullaways at the back end of the track, one way or the other, it's usually going to happen with a lighter car or a heavy car. And the Lamborghini is very light. The race was close. The BlitzSpeeder was in the lead, but not by much for most of the race. And then toward the end, it just pulled away. And if a car pulls away at the end, it doesn't mean that one car sped up. It means that one car slowed down. And the car that slowed down was not the BlitzSpeeder. The car that slowed down was the Lamborghini. We'll see if that happens again in race number 2. we have the Lamborghini set up in lane 1. We have the BlitzSpeeder in lane 2. This is race number 2. Lamborghini's got its work cut out for it. Got to take 2 from the champ. Can it do it? I don't know. Lamborghini lane 1, BlitzSpeeder lane 2, race 2. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. My word. The BlitzSpeeder. It's like somebody told the BlitzSpeeder, hey, that first race was kind of close. You could have lost. And the BlitzSpeeder said, huh? What are you talking about? And then took that one by at least 5, 6, 7, 8 car lengths. That was not close. That was an obliteration. So let me grab all of these cars, go back into the garage, and let's take a look at the results, the winners, the losers, and the surprises. The big surprise, literally the big surprise. All right, I will be back in the garage in just a minute. Oh, it looks like the camera turned off, but we've got to get this camera back on because the BlitzSpeeder is our fastest in fleet champion. It is right here. It is just insanely fast. There's no way to describe it. It is, I don't know how. Looking back, how did it ever lose those races to the Gazella R? I don't know. It was some fluke. I'm going to have to go back and watch that episode to see exactly what happened. If there was some weird thing with the launch, or I can't understand it. Because not only did this car come back and beat the Gazella R, it has destroyed every car that's come up against it so far. I mean, that Lamborghini did give it a close race in that first race, but even then, the Lamborghini was still losing. If the cars had stayed as they were for the first 2/3 of the track, the Lamborghini still would have lost. It would have lost by a small margin, but it still would have lost. In that second race, that was just ridiculous. It's like the BlitzSpeeder got a head start, which it didn't, but that's the way it looked. It won by so much. So this is the car. This is the fastest car, Hot Wheels car on the planet, and I am going to go on some other sites and some other. I'm going to go and check out some gravity track races, and I know that that's not the best way to compare, because there's different factors that are at work when you're picking a gravity track car versus a flat drag strip car. But I can't find a car faster than this. I can't even find a car to compete. So I'm going to go on some of those sites, some of those YouTube channels where they're doing gravity track races, and find out what their fastest cars are and bring some of those in, because at this point we almost have to start bringing in ringers and special cars. And again, I don't do any modifications to these cars. I don't put any graphite on the wheels, none of that. How they come out of the package is how they hit the track, and this BlitzSpeeder is just insane. Now, some of the reason for that we see on Wind Tunnel Wednesday. We've seen the aerodynamic profile. We've seen exactly how the air flows right over the body of this car, how the airflow sticks to the body of the car from the beginning, from the point where it hits the bumper, goes up on the hood, this windshield, the roof line, right off the back onto this wing, and then tails off. The air does not separate from the body. With other cars, there's a point at which the air separates from the body. And when that happens, when that air slows down and separates from the body, it creates lower pressure. From the point where it separates to the back, it creates lower pressure. There's high pressure at the front, low pressure at the back, and what happens is there's pressure drag. So now there's pressure pulling basically against the forward momentum of the car, and that can slow it down. The BlitzSpeeder reduces pressure drag to a minimal level at anything. So then there's friction drag, which is the drag that occurs when the air is rubbing across the actual body, the surface of the object. But again, the BlitzSpeeder is just, it's just so much faster than every car it goes up against. And then we're talking about the weight. The weight is 32.4 grams. We've said that the sweet spot for weight is between 32 and 36 grams. And we've seen that with the cars that have been our fastest cars, that they're right in that range. Now, with the with this Lamborghini, of course, it is light. It's 27.1 grams. And it's got a good aerodynamic profile. We'll put it in the wind tunnel on Wednesday to check it out. But what we saw is that it looked like it slowed down at the back end of the track, and it looked like because the BlitzSpeeder in that first race opened up a gap. And the BlitzSpeeder is not going to get faster on a track that is a flat drag track. The speed that these cars, the maximum speed these cars are going to hit is going to be at the beginning of the race when they're launched out. From that point, friction, gravity, and drag are going to be working to slow the cars down. The cars are slowing down from the beginning. They're only getting slower. And if a car at the end of the race looks like it's getting faster, it's because the other car is slowing down. And this Lamborghini slowed down, and the BlitzSpeeder opened up a gap on it at the back end of the track. And that's always where it happens with the lighter cars and with the heavier cars. With the heavier cars, it's more so due to gravity and the force that they're getting initially. And with the lighter cars, it is drag that's slowing them down. So even a car with a good aerodynamic profile like this Lamborghini still suffered, not as much maybe as some other cars, but it suffered at the end of the track with that drag slowing it down. BlitzSpeeder opened up the gap, beat it. Second race, BlitzSpeeder didn't even think about this Lamborghini. So that was how that went. But the big star of the day, the impressive, the sleeper hit of the day is this one right here. It is this bus, the Ain't Fair. And what ain't fair is that this bus took a race from the Corvette Gasser. I'm sorry, it didn't take one race. It took two. It took two. That Corvette Gasser should be ashamed, embarrassed, and just hang its head or whatever the car equivalent is, because this bus beat it. 2 races in a row it took from the Gasser, and it moved on to face the Lamborghini, which on paper it seemed like, much like the name of this bus, that ain't fair. A Lamborghini versus a bus. How could that even happen? It happens because that's just the way things shook out. But are you kidding me? This bus took a race from the Lamborghini, and that ain't bad. And in the other race, in the first race, it didn't lose by all that much. It was close enough that I had to kind of look at the finish line. So this was the biggest surprise of the day. It was heavy. The metal on this one is, like I said, it's this purple part is all metal. Everything else is plastic. The body's plastic. The base is plastic, and that's typically not what we see on the Hot Wheels cars. We usually see the base slab is metal. And I don't know how that would have changed the performance of this at all, if at all, because it did crash once. But I don't know if that would have changed the performance if the metal slab was on the bottom and the rest of the body was just plastic. But either way, even with a bike on the front, it came to race and taking a race from the lightest car of the day, in particular a Lamborghini, is nothing to be ashamed of. So the Ain't Fair may be the fastest bus in the fleet, but I'll have to have an all bus race set up to see if that's the case. That it must have excellent balance. It's got something. It's got something because it weighed in. What did we say this one weighed? This weighs 37 grams. So that was the other thing, is that it's big, but because it's only got that one metal piece, it doesn't weigh that much. It was only a tenth of a gram heavier than the Mustang, and the Mustang made it to the finals before it was beaten out. So we had some surprises today, and let's see, roughshod going a little outside the box. Next week's number 265, the Croc Rod. Okay, so let's go ahead, and it says it's got open wheels. I think I know which one he's talking about. 265. Is it that gold Croc Rod? 260. Yep, there it is. This one, this has been picked a couple of times, but I remember some kids picking this one. But I don't remember how it performed. It does have the open wheels, but if I recall, this one stays on the track. I don't know if that tail sticks out further than the back end. If it does not, then this should get a pretty good launch. It looks like all that white is metal. The gray is definitely plastic, and I think that the gold part is also plastic, so it probably doesn't weigh all that much. It's probably right in there in the kind of sweet spot of 30. What would it be? 32, between 32, 36 grams. It doesn't look like it's that heavy. So this may be the car. We're definitely going to throw this in the wind tunnel on Wednesday. And I just need to write down that number for the Croc Rod, 263. And we will see, 263. We will see what it does and how it looks in the wind tunnel. And Christopher's asking if we do have any NASCAR races. And what I can tell you is we do have, let me see, was it a Camaro? The NASCARs. We do have at least one, because it was that Bubba Wallace, that Black Lives Matter car that he raced a couple of years ago. I just forget the number of it. But let's I might be able to just scroll through, because I know it's in blue and it was sometime last year. But that's the only one from the NASCAR series that is in here that I am aware of. Now, some of the other ones, there are some of the Hot Wheels, the old school NASCAR cars. Like I do have, oh man, what was my man? Richard Petty. I have a Richard Petty car over there, but I think that one hasn't raced because I think the axle's a little bit bent, so it wasn't able to make the cut. Maybe it was, let's see, it was either 600. It was not Yeah, here we go. This one, it's a Camaro ZL1. And so this is one of the only cars that is not, it's not a Hot Wheels car, it's not a Mattel car, it's made by whoever makes the NASCAR line. And it wasn't particularly fast. I think with these cars, they're more interested in the details, because you can see like they get all of the details down, like all of the sponsor logos, all of the artwork, everything that that is on the actual car, down to the Goodyear Eagles on the tires. Everything is just picture perfect. But in terms of being fast on our track, I don't remember how this car did. I just know that it didn't beat out, I think the Draftnator was probably the fastest car at the time. So, but yeah, this is the only one I have, other than, hang on, I have I was just looking at this one this morning. I have and maybe it's not. I don't know. Oddly enough, this car is also 43, and this is Hot Wheels. It's just a '67 Pontiac GTO. Oh no, I see. I know what I'm talking about. Every once in a while, let's go over here, and it's this one right here. And you can see as it comes around that this front wheel is bent. The axle's bent, so it can't race. I like the car, so I picked it up at the Hot Wheels swap meet out here, and yeah, it was just a cool looking car. And I don't know how to do. I've never done any wheel swaps on the Hot Wheels, so I don't know how to do that. So the cars I have with broken axles or bent axles just end up being cars with bent axles. I could probably look online and try and find this, but it's probably, with it being a Richard Petty car, which you can see in the back right here. This got the little tribute to Richard Petty there. Or salute to Richard Petty, whatever. With this being this car, it's probably popular among, NASCAR people, what have you. And so it's probably going to be pretty expensive for me to just look online, find it, and get one. So I might have to check on that and see what the price is, because I do like the car. But again, once the axles get bent and the wheels are out of alignment, they're no good on the track. So I have a handful of cars like that, especially some of the older cars that I had from when I was a kid and played with. I would love to be able to bring those onto the track, even though they're metal on metal, so they're heavy and probably not going to do all that well on the track. We will see. Yeah, so the circle tracker, definitely, we raced that, and I think it did okay. It didn't beat out whatever the fastest car was. But there are a few cars in the fleet that definitely are styled, modeled, and designed after NASCARs and throughout the years. So I usually have it laying around here somewhere. It's I don't know where has it gone? I don't know. It's a flat out 442 or something like that, and the one I have is orange, and it's beat up because, like I've mentioned many times, I played with these cars when I was a kid. I did not keep them tucked away in a little box. I did not keep them mint on the card. They were out on the playground, getting run around the blacktop, on the concrete, wherever. That's how I had them when I was a kid. They were meant to be played with. And I don't know what I've done with it, but anyway, it's an orange kind of stock car, NASCAR looking car, but it's so heavy. It's back then, like the 70s, 80s cars, metal on metal. It's just way too heavy to be competitive in any kind of race that we have going on here. But hey, we had some great races and some surprises with that Ain't Fair bus doing its thing, beating the Lamborghini. That's crazy that it took a race from the Lamborghini, and almost took, could have taken that first race. Third race wasn't as close, but hey, at least it got the win in there. We do have Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So if you're seeing this, let's say you stumble across this on Monday. Well, guess what? You've got 2 days left to go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option, scroll through, find the cars that you want to see in the wind tunnel, because I'll explain on Wednesday what you see in the wind tunnel should inform you about how the car should probably perform on the track. It's not all the information, but it's a critical piece of information, because you'll get to see what the aerodynamic profile of the BlitzSpeeder is, and then you can compare that to the cars you may be choosing. And Christopher has used that method of putting 2 different cars in there and then making a choice. He's used that a couple of weeks, and it's definitely something that has been, I think, helpful, because you can definitely see which car is probably going to be impacted by drag on the track more so than the other on Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So we do that every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern, and then whatever time it is where you are, that's what time we're doing it. 4 p.m., 7 p.m. But you can always watch the replay on our YouTube channel. And then on Saturdays, we're here every Saturday at the track live, racing Hot Wheels cars, pulling cars out of storage, introducing them into the fleet, viewers selecting cars, just trying to find a car that can beat the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, the BlitzSpeeder. The BlitzSpeeder is the car. Without a doubt, Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame, Hot Wheels, at the track live, all about aerodynamics car. And if you would like more information about aerodynamics, because all this fun that I'm having with Hot Wheels cars, that we're having racing the cars, is all based around all about aerodynamics, the science program where I teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a whole range of science and physics related topics, and I do it using Hot Wheels cars. So we race the Hot Wheels cars, but they learn the science. They start to think about why they're picking cars the same way that you're looking at the cars and thinking about how or why they'd be fast on the track is the way I want them to think about it and understand the physics behind the cars and the races and everything we're doing. So we have fun with Hot Wheels cars. We learn science. And if you want more information about the program, go to our website, aaAerodynamics.com, or find us on Instagram, aaAerodynamics, and all the information is in the bio. You can contact me about how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. So I appreciate you watching. You can always go to our YouTube channel and watch any of the old episodes and races and see exactly how we got to this point of the BlitzSpeeder becoming the fastest car in the world. So we will be here next week trying to find a car that can beat the BlitzSpeeder, seeing which cars you picked. So for all about aerodynamics, for At the Track Live, for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, I am Coach James, and until next week, I will see you at the races.